Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a really powerful story about business ethics, reputation, and, honestly, just human nature. We're going to look at what seems like a simple fable about two guys in a village, but man, it is packed with some incredibly profound lessons about the literal ROI of your reputation and the hidden costs of a scarcity mindset. We're going to break down the actual mechanics of integrity, how destructive envy can be, and why doing the right thing isn't just, morally sound. It's absolutely the most profitable long-term strategy you can deploy.
So, what actually happens when absolute honesty clashes with blinding jealousy? That's the core question of our explainer today. Because this isn't just some quaint moral tale, it's a masterclass in reputation management, customer loyalty, and the actual tangible cost of character. It really forces us to look in the mirror and ask, when we see someone else succeed, do we try to learn from them or do we try to tear them down? How you answer that pretty much dictates not just your personal happiness, but your long-term survival in business.
Let's set the scene. Meet our protagonist, Madhav. He's a desperately poor but incredibly hardworking street vendor selling pav bhaji, which is this amazing, popular Indian street food, right off a simple wooden cart. Now, to really get what drives this guy, you just have to listen to his internal anchor. If I return empty-handed today, how will I face Sumitra? It is literally pouring rain. His cart gives him almost zero shelter, and back home, the roof of his house is actually leaking water. His wife, Sumitra, is waiting for him to bring home just enough cash for rations so they can light their stove. He isn't out there being greedy. This is about basic survival and love. He refuses to pack up and go home in that storm, because taking care of his family totally outweighs his own comfort.
Well, that grit, it pays off big time. Out of the driving rain, a car pulls up. These stranded, freezing city travelers order from Madhav, and he serves them piping hot, perfectly buttered pav bhaji. They are so blown away by how incredible this warm food tastes in such miserable weather that they leave him a massive 2,000 rupee tip. Now, to put that in perspective for Madhav, this isn't just a nice tip. It's a massive capital injection. It completely changes his life overnight. It means a dry bed, food on the table, just a huge moment of financial relief. But, as with all great stories, this exact moment of triumph is kind of the spark that lights a massive fire of conflict.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, the sparks of jealousy and Rajesh's downward spiral.
Enter Rajesh. He's a local grocery shop owner who happened to witness Madhav's huge 2,000 rupee windfall. But instead of being happy for him or learning from his hustle, Rajesh completely succumbs to this toxic scarcity mindset. Rajesh already has a shop. He has a stable income, but his small-mindedness turns this really beautiful moment into just festering envy. As you can see, there's a stark contrast in their business models. Madhav is all about value creation, honesty, fresh veggies bought every single day, completely focused on customer joy. Rajesh, on the other hand, he's all about value extraction. He isn't trying to make his own store better. He's obsessed with quick cash, greed, and honestly, just sabotaging the competition.
And Rajesh doesn't just sit around stewing, he actively weaponizes that jealousy. Let's trace this timeline of escalating sabotage, because the stakes get really high. Day 1, it's straight-up brand defamation. He rolls up to Madhav's cart with his cronies, complaining loudly that the food smells rotten, spreading rumors that the city folks got sick. And the village actually falls for the gossip and stays away, which is heartbreaking for Madhav. But the truth always comes out. The city folks come back totally healthy, and they bring friends. Madhav uses that profit to rent a permanent shop. By day 3, Rajesh is pouting and refuses to attend the grand opening. And by day 7, the jealousy turns into literal corporate sabotage. Rajesh actually hires local goons to go into Madhav's new shop, plant pebbles in their own food, and create this massive public scene to ruin Madhav's reputation.
This is exactly where product quality acts as a literal risk mitigation tool. Integrity builds this undeniable shield around you. So, right in the middle of all this chaos, these goons throwing plates, screaming about rocks in their food, a voice of authority cuts right through the noise. It turns out the village's new head constable, Raghavir Singh, is sitting right there, eating in plain clothes with his wife. He walks over, examines the pebbles, and immediately points out there aren't even any food spices on them. They were obviously dropped in after the fact. Under his stern questioning, the goons fold instantly. Right there in front of the whole village, they confess that Rajesh paid them to ruin Madhav's good name. The truth is completely out in the open.
Moving on to Section 2, short-term greed versus long-term vision. The rival pav bhaji stalls.
Humiliated and furious, Rajesh decides to double down.
He basically creates a real-world A/B test of ethics and commerce. He figures, hey, if a poor street vendor can make money selling pav bhaji, I can do it too. So he opens his own competing stall right outside his grocery shop. Look at the difference in their overhead here. Madhav totally protects his quality moat. He keeps using fresh veggies and expensive butter, willingly taking a slightly lower profit margin just to guarantee exceptional quality. But Rajesh? Driven purely by greed, he slashes his costs. He buys cheap, stale vegetables. He swaps out real butter for cheap, unhealthy hydrogenated oil. And then, to hide the awful taste of his rotten ingredients, he dumps in way too much spicy chili. Rajesh is literally maximizing his short-term profits at the direct expense of his consumers.
But you know, the market always corrects itself. And man, the karma here is swift. By prioritizing profit over basic safety, Rajesh actually causes severe stomach illnesses among his customers, people who were just trying his food to save a couple of pennies. The consequence? Immediate regulatory intervention. The village council, the panchayat, steps in. They hit Rajesh with a heavy financial fine and forcefully shut his shop down. His reputation in the village is completely cooked. In any business, word of mouth and trust are literally your most valuable assets, and Rajesh just burned his to the ground.
Now, watch how reputation acts as a massive growth multiplier for Madhav. Let's track this incredible hero's journey. He goes from a leaky street cart in the freezing rain to renting a real storefront with the village leader's support. And from there, his brand equity absolutely skyrockets. A major city newspaper actually writes a feature on Madhav's honesty and his amazing food. This exposure attracts angel investment. A wealthy city businessman tracks Madhav down and offers to partner up and fund this huge, luxurious highway family restaurant. Madhav goes from a struggling street vendor to a wealthy business partner. It undeniably proves that integrity doesn't just feel good, it actually scales.
That brings us to Section 3, the ultimate forgiveness, winning through goodness.
Jump forward a few years. A highly successful, wealthy Madhav is driving through his old village and he spots Rajesh. But Rajesh is frail, ruined, just sitting outside his dusty, shuttered shop. The guy who tried so hard to destroy Madhav had effectively destroyed himself. Now Madhav could have easily gloated, but instead he pulls over and approaches him. Rajesh is totally humbled and broken. He apologizes, admitting that nature brought him exactly what he deserved. And Madhav? He simply says, humans make mistakes. Forget the past. Come manage the store at my new hotel. He doesn't just forgive his old enemy. He offers him a lifeline. He gives Rajesh his dignity back and a real job as a store manager, actually trusting him to change.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Madhav's story really shows us that no matter how hard the rain falls, if your intentions are pure, the sun is going to eventually shine on you. So, I want to leave you with this question to chew on. When the storms of jealousy arrive in your own life or career, are you going to focus your energy on building a stronger roof for yourself, or are you going to waste your time trying to break someone else's? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating story with me today. I really hope you take these lessons of integrity into absolutely whatever you're building next.